Hello everyone, and welcome back to another news episode brought to you by the Halo Collective. What is that I hear? The people watching this video are curious as to where I've been. Well, Tyler locked me up in a dungeon for the past few weeks. I had to eat my arm off just to survive. He let me out today, though, to bring you this video. So, before I get locked up inside the dungeon again, because I'm stalling for time to enjoy this wonderful sunshine, let's get to the news. In this week's Canon Fodder, Grimm explains his experiences in the mid-90s in his most recent forum post, how he was an avid arcade game player, and one of his favorite games was Killer Instinct 1 and 2. Then later, Halo Combat Evolved released, and it picked its way up to his favorite game list. No surprise there. The thought had also crossed Grimm's mind, what if the Halo games and the Killer Instinct games could intertwine to make an amazing game? Sadly, to no avail, for years on end, Killer Instinct didn't release any sequels. Years later, in Los Angeles, 2013, Grimm witnessed a guardian rising from the sands, overlooking the small in comparison John 117. Then not even a few moments later, the signature guitar riff that belonged to Killer Instinct. Had someone told him that in 2 years' time he would find out he would be working on bringing two of his favorite game series together, he wouldn't have believed you. Though, not that the fact is, it is indeed happening, Grimm is happy on a professional and a deep personal level. Those working on Killer Instinct had originally wished for the Arbiter to be a character they could use, but they didn't believe that they would be capable of receiving him. Shockingly, as we all now know, the Arbiter was in fact given to them. Which once fans knew about this, many fans began to flood to the forums with a multitude of questions. A Sangheili warrior could easily fit into the scenario of Killer Instinct, but for characterization reasons, an Arbiter would be best. So this particular Arbiter was set up for this challenge specifically. This didn't stop many people from asking just who exactly is this Arbiter, and which then Frank O'Connor replied with the following. Keith David, of course, is the Arbiter from the Halo game universe for all intents and purposes, and will continue to be as long as it will have us, Frank explains. But in Killer Instinct, we wanted to create multiple visual variations of the combatant archetype in which the classic fighting game style. And so we leaned heavily on the Hall of the Arbiters, concept from the games, where we see armors and costumes from historical Arbiters in a kind of mausoleum. So our Killer Instinct Arbiter is in some way an amalgam of Arbiters past, as well as more modern Sangheili warriors, and further, like Spartan Nicole 458 from Dead or Alive 4, it helped to insert a subtle canonical buffer between their game and ours, so that players aren't scratching their heads when the Covenant's historical champion is fighting a Battletoad in Chicago. Halo fans out there may also recognize some of the various canon behind the different customization options given to the Arbiter for Killer Instinct. However, for any Killer Instinct fans who are newly being introduced to the Halo universe for the first time, the following info is just for you. The Chitin Armor is the default suit for the Killer Instinct Arbiter. It mirrors that of the Thelvadams in Halo 5 Guardians, showcasing a classic Sangheili design that has adorned noble clan leaders and warrior keep Castellians for millennia. In addition, players can unlock stunning color combinations that might have been donned by Sangheili Judge Kings long since past. Following that up is the Arbiter skin. Nearly all of the characters in the Xbox One edition of Killer Instinct have a secondary base aesthetic, normally classified as a retro costume, especially for alumni characters from Killer Instinct 1 and 2. Of course, when it came time to pick the alternate base visualization for the Killer Instinct Arbiter, there was only one logical choice, which is why players will also be able to recreate Thel's classic look from Halo 2 Anniversary. The Sangheili combat harness has many functional and aesthetic variations, and has been worn with honor and distinction on the battlefield by a host of elite warriors across a range of different ranks and roles. For Killer Instinct, players will get to select the combat harness shown in Halo 2 Anniversary campaign, which when combined with various color options allows players to play as different ranks within the Covenant military, including that of the Supreme Commander. Storm Elites were a specialized shock trooper role, mostly widely encountered within Julem Dama's Covenant force, Players can unlock the Storm Armor, might also find themselves imagining they are fighting as Elite Civi, a peculiar Sangheili agent who has been utilized by the Office of Naval Intelligence on more than one occasion, most notably within the pages of the Halo Escalation comics series. Elite Rangers are highly trained assault units that have been used in a variety of capacities within the Covenant and Swords of Sangheili. In Killer Instinct, players can bring their own exo-atmospheric onslaught with the Ranger harness style seen in Halo Reach. Many Sangheili who served as officers under the Covenant's reign became commanders of their own factions following the Great Schism. Most eventually chose to follow the rising leaders such as Julim Dama and Selene Nyan, though some formed pocket empires and independent alliances. In Killer Instinct, the armor donned by elite commanders in Halo 4 and Halo 5 Guardians will be available for use, allowing you to play as an ambitious warlord or key general in the Sangheili Civil War. The role and legacy of Sangheili Zealots can be traced back to the pre-Covenant era. Over the decades, a number of different Zealot chapters aligned with particular interpretations of ancient codes of honor or depth pacts endured and even thrived under the Covenant. In Killer Instinct, players can outfit their character with the ceremonial combat harness that was the armor of choice of the devoted sentries, a group of elite zealots that served under the Supreme Commander Ro Barotame within the fleet of Valiant Prudence during their assault on planet Reach. The final suit that will be available to you is the Aesthetic. The Aesthetics were an ancient warrior order with deep ties to ancient Sangheili beliefs, fervently devoted to their pre-Covenant faith. While the Aesthetics' military forces had formally dissolved following the formation of the Covenant at the Writ of Union, Aesthetic priests continued to secretly initiate worthy Sangheili warriors into their ranks, keeping the ideals of their martial order alive within the Covenant. In Killer Instinct, players can adorn themselves with the armor of the fabled Aesthetic Guard, first seen in Halo 3. Those working on bringing the Arbiter over onto Killer Instinct wanted playing as a Sangheili to feel right. They wanted to show off the prowess of a Sangheili that you wouldn't normally be able to see as your enemies fire upon you within any normal Halo game. So Killer Instinct was the best way to do this, and they made sure to do that. As you play, you feel like a true Sangheili. Of course, when you play as the Arbiter, you're going to be needing some weapons and fighting skills and whatnot. So, the following information is what you'll be able to destroy your enemies with. The Type 51 Carbine. The Type 51 Carbine holds 18 rounds of radioactive ammo and fires 3-shot bursts. Once the magazine has been emptied, gunshots are replaced by melee attacks. So be sure to only use the Carbine when you are in a sticky situation. Get it? Sticky? Plasma grenades? Anyways, on to the next point! Speaking of the sticky anti-personnel plasma grenade that detonates after a 3-second delay, throwing distance can also be changed by pressing forward or backwards. The grenade blast can also harm you as well as your enemy. The Arbiter can carry around 3 grenades, and replacement grenades are salvaged over time, so you can throw them all at once, but you're not going to have them again for a certain period of time. Then the Arbiter also carries a master-crafted Covenant energy sword, Orthel Vadim's personal blade, the Vicious Prophet's Bane. The following information is also provided about the map that will be available alongside the Arbiter. The Arbor Stage is the Arena of Judgment, located near the ruins of Nushra. In the distant past, it was a place of discussion and debates on matters of Sangheili honor, hosting Chitins and Arbiters competing in a battleground of ideas and philosophy. But time is cruel. They also wanted to make sure that the map in itself was balanced for any and all cast members in the Killer Instinct roster. So a statement from Kenneth Peters from 343 Industries is as follows. Thel Vadim is but the latest link in a long chain of arbiters that stretch back thousands of years, judge kings, peacemakers, teachers, and tyrants of Sangheili myth and history who led the Sangheili clans. For Killer Instinct, it was not only important to allow players to forge a narrative, to build their own arbiter, but also see their stories played out on the stage, in this case, literally. For this, we chose an ancient temple on Sangheili, caught in the crossfire of the war between the Swords of Sangheili and Covenant. Its ancient walls progressively broken as the match plays out, pushing the scripting capabilities of Killer Instinct to the limit. We see elites fighting and dying, war engines spending their last energies, and fierce battles for aerial dominance that end in the vanquished craft careering out of control. In Killer Instinct, the Arena of Judgment is a testing ground for strange warriors from elsewhere, where your customized Sangheili champion faces off against cyborg raptors, skeleton pirates, and talking frogs. Even so, we worked hard to make sure this is an authentic and recognizably Halo, right down to the color scheme of the vehicles and sound effects of the Carbine. In the arena, you will be challenged, you will be humbled, but we also hope you'll be happy as we are with this amazing work by our partners. Finishing with that is a good stopping point, I believe. So thanks again for joining us, everyone. Leave a comment below about your thoughts surrounding everything discussed here. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on anything and everything Halo.